Jackson, welcome to my channel, bro. How you doing, brother? Everything good?
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, absolutely. It's a blessing to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Like the last time I talked to you, we were in Vegas. A lot of things has changed since then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, bro, just before we start, give us like a little short intro about yourself. How did you get into this like content creation space, fitness space?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Kyle Jackson. I usually just go by Jackson with a V on my socials because I guess I thought that was cool when I was 16. And then always been into like YouTube and social medias and stuff. So now I'm mostly doing stuff on all the stereotypical platforms, mostly stuff with like men's fragrance, self-improvement, style, fashion, whatever, and also some fitness-oriented stuff as well, obviously. And then also do some YouTube thumbnail creation for some bigger influences on the platform, which has been a blessing, and do some stuff and help with short form content for people as well.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So how did you even get into fitness? Like for how long have you been training, stuff like that?
So I just turned 24 like a week ago, and I've been training since I was inspired when I was like 16. So first few years was kind of bullshit, and like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like passionate or whatever. And then I finally took a step back to understand and research things and understand how to eat, rest, and train optimally. Just doing like more strength oriented stuff, and really fell in love with deadlifting. It was sumo deadlifts. I know it's cheating or whatever, but bro, I just loved it, man. And did that up until I sustained a couple injuries to both my knees and like some nerve damage and like my lower left part of my neck. That's where it started when I was in the military and stuff. So then that really halted my training and everything. And so been just sort of recouping since then. Doctors arguing back and forth on what's wrong. Finally got MRIs, and then they were only able to offer like surgery. And I said no to the surgeries just because it's like really invasive shit that you can't reverse. And the doctors were like, all right, well, you're never going to run, jump, deadlift, or squat like you were ever again if you don't do it. I was like, fuck, but now I'm just learning how to deal with it, how to cope with it, and push past that. But
yeah, bro, I was been dealing with injuries, man. I know, like I've seen, and I know a lot of people that been dealing with injuries. How do you go about that?
I was definitely in a stage of denial for like over a year, man. I was still coming back to the deadlift platform, trying over and over again, trying to like just ease myself back into it. None of the stuff that's wrong with my knees is muscular. I mean, a very small amount. It's mostly tendon, cartilage, bone sort of oriented things. So I tried physical therapy in the beginning when we didn't know what the problem was, but it didn't work because it's not muscular. So just learning to let go of those things, still appreciating the deadlifts and the squats, and always living vicariously, asking guys in the gym, I'm like, bro, like that's sick that you're doing that, like talking back and forth with them about it. But just seeing what I can do and being appreciative of that, looking a bit more towards the aesthetics side of things, and just rolling with that.
Like, do you like make fitness content like on YouTube too, or it's mainly about like fragrances, self-development, stuff like that?
Yeah, the YouTube's always stayed more style and fragrance oriented, especially fragrance in the past year. And then it was just the Instagram reels that I for whatever reason chose to go down the hatch with fitness and this satirical side of things as well.
Yeah, and you get to see like some crazy comments, huh?
I think that's exactly why I went with Instagram in the beginning, just because I knew how chaotic the Instagram comments were, and it's like the Wild West on there, man. It's lawless in those comments. So of course I play into that as well, and kind of just play into those comments, and it garners a lot of support from the algorithm.
Yeah, I don't like if the viewers know, but like you were making some like interesting content that like it was obviously like people would like bait comment, like they would like definitely want to say something stupid, like they don't really understand the context. So like what do you think, why do you think people actually like started going crazy and like they were like all saying like, oh bro, like you're not even lifting, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think like the overwhelming majority of the comments, I mean, like, yeah, the overwhelming majority of comments are all negative, and like, and that Instagram fashion of hate comments or whatever. But I will say the majority of them, like the 80-90%, they're done in like a humorous manner. Like they're really funny, you know, they're comical, and they put a smile on my face. They make me laugh. They get creative. But then there's also the smaller percentage of people that will write something that's like that seems genuinely hateful. Of course, I don't know who they are, and it's just a comment online. But usually it'll be like, sometimes it can be like really nasty, or like a DM of something that's like really hateful. And I'm like, I can glaze over that because I'm just like, obviously this person's got to be miserable in real life, or something's going on that's making them want to project this hate out into the world, right? And I'm able to just to see past that. But the majority of comments that are funny, I think either way, even though that they are funny, I think being surrounded by that negativity, no matter what, can be definitely get into your head, no matter who you are. So that's when I ended up turning off my comments, or not my turning off my comments, turning off like my notifications and stuff like that, and not really looking at it too much. But you know, seeing some stuff that's still funny. But I definitely think a lot of people have been tricked, especially in the more recent years, or 5-10 years, on what's realistic and not. And it's really sad.
Definitely, man. Definitely. What were like some of the most like crazy comments that he got? That were actually like they were actually kind of like in a way hateful,
like from the
you know?
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people. It's so funny. A lot of people will say some hateful stuff about like my physique, or like that I'm not training right, and then they'll offer up their advice on it. I'm like, bro, these videos that I post, they don't show my training routine at all. They don't show my diet, and they don't show my rest. How can this person offer me exact reps and sets and exact exercises and calories and stuff? Like they don't even know how much I weigh. And I'm like, how are you telling me all this like you're my coach, bro? So I think those ones are really delusional, right? But then there's also just the random hate ones that I just disregard, where people are you know, just telling me to kill myself, or like, you know, DMing me being like, saying that I should be ashamed, or like, bro, please delete this shit, kill yourself, whatever. Or like just empty threats and stuff like that too. And it's like, bro, I'm not gonna care about those, right? It's like, this person's obviously like, I was 14 years old with the internet as well, seeing all this edgy stuff. Like this could just be a kid that's like much younger than that and worse than that.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So what was the thought process with coming up the video ideas? Was it just like purely for like fun and like, you know, jokes?
Yeah. So I just moved recently, and like within the past couple months, still getting situated and everything. And so the content sort of came to a halt. And then I found this sick gym, and I was like, fuck it. I've got my tripod still and everything. And so I just going in, and I was recording stuff like me doing exercises or whatever. And I was like, I kind of took a step back, and I was like, bro, like I don't look like, my body's not where I want it to be, right? I'm happy with myself. I love myself, but like I've definitely had let myself go a little bit, right? And my body fat percentage got really high, or not super high. I mean, it was like 20, just over 20% maybe. And I was like, let me just take advantage of the moment, and because I still want to create content, right? But I can't do it in a aesthetics sort of way right now. So let me just take videos of myself, some more funny stuff, maybe combine it with some stuff of me, you know, doing actual exercises, and let me just like throw on a funny, ironic, satirical caption, right? Purely for laughs, purely for comedic value, entertainment, right? And just make light of the situation. You know, I'm not in the situation that I want to be with my body right now, but I'm working towards it. But while I'm on that journey, I'm like, why not? Why not just have a laugh, man?
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I feel like you can definitely use that to kind of motivate yourself, to push yourself. You're like, you know what? I'm going to post this video. I know I don't necessarily look the best, but this is here purely for me to kind of just push myself later on. So I'm like,
Yeah,
damn, I used to
absolutely.
be looking like this, but now I'm this, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it motivates with the content as well, like putting stuff out there, even if it's just purely entertainment and stuff like that, you know. And there will be some, I mean, it's very rare, but especially on Instagram, but you will get those comments of people being supportive. Or I've had countless coaches reach out to me in like my DMs or comments being like, yo, hit me up if you want coaching, bro, or people offering me advice or telling me like, oh, bro, I don't know if you know this, but you have this condition, or like pectus excavatum and stuff like that. So there still are those supportive people. So those comments are cool too.
That's good. Interesting. So, because I saw some of the videos initially, but I didn't see the ones that blew up. I think you post maybe like a couple before they like went super viral, and then I saw you like posting a story from Greg Doucette making a video on like your
Yeah.
clips and stuff, and I was like, wait, what happened? Like, did he
Yeah.
injure himself? So I click on the video. I'm saying like he's just like talking about the people in the comments and like people going crazy about like your videos and stuff. So how did you feel when you saw the video?
I felt euphoric, man. Seriously, it was like I was just out and about with family, and I had my phone in my pocket, and I hadn't checked it in a while, and then I check it for a second, and I see them. I've gotten all these notifications on Instagram and YouTube, and comments of people being like, Coach Greg said this, blah blah blah, or blah blah blah. Greg Doucette video, and I'm like, Greg Doucette video. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, maybe there's, it's feasible that he's been maybe he posted a video of him reacting to a bunch of different short form videos or something in the fitness space. But then I see me on the thumbnail and it's a 15-minute video. I'm like, there's no way, man. And it was a blessing, seriously. And it was even more of a blessing to click the video and watch it and hear him be really authentic, because I thought he was going to maybe buy into the, play more of his Coach Greg satirical sense of character and be like, I can't believe this guy's on steroids and he looks like this, because I'll joke about that sometimes. But it was cool to see him speak on it in a really genuine light of things, right? And really just talking about the comments and how diluted a lot of them are, and how sad that part of the space has gotten. It was bliss, man. It was awesome. And then I saw he'd also followed me on Instagram, so I chatted a little bit with him back and forth on there. Very small amount, but it was cool still, man. And it was really cool just to be in a position where I've followed for someone for ages, and then have a video like that come out.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. Because he gave like I watched the video fully, and like it was like very honest. Like he was like trying to actually help you out, and like the thing is like nowadays, like especially fitness Instagram, fitness YouTube, like bro, a lot of kids like they don't even know like this lighting and the angles and a lot of fake natties, and it's like they don't even know what's natural lifting. Because I saw like this one guy, he was actually natural and he had like a pretty decent physique, and he was training for like 13 years, bro. Like for a natural, he was looking like very, very good. And the guys were like, imagine training for 13 years and looking like this guy. I'm like, bro, you have to train for a long time, putting like crazy strength numbers to have a physique like that. But you can just get that with just like trend or something, some hopping on some gear. And they don't even like respect the process. They don't respect the journey.
Yeah, people are really lost nowadays. It's really sad to see. And I think a lot of it just comes from not only how like social media has been twisted and everything, but how insecure people have gotten as well, and how they want to put that out there into the world. When I was 16 and I always say, I was inspired because I found David Lade videos, which is true. But I more recently kind of took a step back and thought like, well, I would never have come across those videos if I never would have gone on YouTube as a 16-year-old and intentionally searched up skinny to muscle transformation or how to put on muscle as a skinny guy, and then found those videos. And I'm like, I only did that from a place of insecurity, right? I would love to say that, I was just had that childlike curiosity as a 16-year-old kid and was like, just like wanted to put on muscle to better myself. But it's like, no, man, I was definitely insecure about my body, and I had some, I was angry at the world too. And I think that just stemmed from growing up skinny my whole life and being told that, especially in a negative light. I mean, the 90% or more of people that were, or the time that I was hearing the word skinny, is just people being like, saying it in a negative or toxic sense, even to the point where it was so bad that someone would preface it by saying, oh, like, you look great. Like you look good. You look healthy. You're so skinny. Like it's awesome. And in my mind, it would just ruin me instantly to hear skinny, because that word had been so negatively saturated in my mind that it didn't matter how they connoted themselves in a positive manner. It was just like, no, that's out the window. So I think that in combination with some physical and verbal bullying in middle school. So I was like 13, 14 years old, and they would I sort of attributed that to my skinniness as well. I think that all led me down that rabbit hole. But by the end of it all, I think any insecurity is always going to come from a place of feeling that you lack some form of importance or value to like an environment or ecology that for whatever reason you deem valuable to yourself, right? Or feeling that you lack a quality that for whatever reason you deem to be valuable. And for me in this instance, it was just having a commendable, reputable physique.
You felt like nowadays you feel like a lot of guys are putting their confidence on their physique solely on that rather than actually their characteristics, their traits, their values,
Yeah, I think it really just stems from those insecurities. And I think, it'd be a lovely and a perfect world to build all these habits around yourself through self-respect and self-love and everything, and just wanting to build habits around yourself to better yourself, right? Because you respect yourself as a person. But I think a lot of it, no matter what, is always going to come down to insecurities for a lot of people, at least, right? I think you would have to have a perfect upbringing to say otherwise, which is just not realistic, right? But for a lot of guys, I think it does stem from those insecurities, especially with all the comparison that you can draw on social media nowadays.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, it's comparison is the thief of joy,
Absolutely, man. 100%.
I was like at the opposite issue. I was like just fat. I was called fat my whole life. So when I went to the gym, I got skinny fat, and I was like, yo, like this feels weird. Like I'm a little bit too small, like going from like 230 or something to like 170, 175. It was like,
wow,
everything is just so loose, like nothing fits me. And then I was like, I gotta slowly go up. So I kind of relate to that. And one thing I learned, especially, I don't know, you probably felt after you got injured too, it's like whenever you put on your confidence and your trust within yourself, like on your exterior stuff, it can be your physique, it can be your material belongings. I think it's not a really strong foundation to have as a person,
Oh, you're absolutely right, man. It's really sad to see so many people put that. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, and I think that's just the world we live in now. There's always some sort of external factor or external variable that we're putting a lot of faith into to drive us. I think you see a lot of people getting so distraught over their favorite influencers or celebrities that they think are natural and training naturally come out saying that they're not natural after years and years of following them. And I think we should never get to the point where you're putting so much faith in something that's not you, where these people are breaking down and feeling heartbroken and their minds are shattered over something that was their source of motivation and discipline, coming out and saying that they're lying, right? It should always come from yourself. But I think that's such a hard thing to do nowadays.
100%. Yeah, because like you never know what's gonna happen, bro. Like you may be like one injury away, and it's like you might never be able to train again, So
no, you're absolutely right.
I think it's beneficial to like go train, have like look good, stuff like that. Also with the money, wealth, all these things matter. Obviously, I'm not saying it's not important, but I would say the foundational part within yourself, that's what's gonna actually cement you as like a person who's like capable of handling himself in all areas, whether it's like social conversations, properly connecting with different people, somebody who's actually confident within himself without necessarily needing external stuff. So I think a lot of gym guys, especially like this, there's like this Gymcel community, bro. Like they only focus on gym, and like it's good to focus on that. But I would say after a certain threshold, it's like it gets a diminishing return. Like when you sacrifice your social life, especially if you're not competing and if you don't want to go like pro bodybuilder mode, I just don't really see the benefit of like doing that,
Yeah, like seems to become part of their depression or whatever. Like they're posting these things or not posting even, which seems even worse, that they're like, going to the gym, hoodie up, I'm fighting demons, bro. Don't talk to me. I'm lonely. I'm depressed. And it's like that sort of, they instill that as part of their personality. Like not only has the gym become their personality, but being upset and going to the gym to relieve it, but they're still upset with like at the gym and at the world. It like morphs together, and it's really sad to see that, because it's like this should be something that changes your life, you know, completely uplifts yourself and allows you to uplift other people and build a lot of self-confidence, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because like nowadays, I mean, we're kind of part of, not necessarily part of the problem, but we are like kind of feeding the problem itself, like by making content, you know, because I feel like, you know, likes, views, all these things, it's like obviously you feel really good, you feel validated when like certain videos do well. And I guess there's a reason that people create like those, like, I guess, Sigma male videos, or like those like sad, lonely gym videos. It's just
Yeah.
in a black hoodie, just like, my girlfriend just dumped me, but I'm going to come back, you know, come back stronger. Like
Yeah.
videos like that, you know, like, but I would say there's a reason people post that, because I guess there's like a lot of fans and people supporting it because it's relatable. A lot of guys actually feel like that. I felt like that too. Like after a breakup, you go to the gym, you're like, you know what, fuck that bitch, I'm just gonna train like this. But like, it's
That's a
like
real thing. Yeah,
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 yeah. But it's like a phase that you kind of go through, not necessarily building your whole persona on that, you know?
yeah, yeah. Because if you, I think it's it sounds like such a insulistic thing to talk about, but like I think there is, you can give credence to the idea of finding motivation from a dark place, especially if you're towards like a rock bottom. Because I think that's what rock bottom is. You know, you hit rock bottom, you have nothing to lose, and then it's like that's what gets you to change, right? And that's usually from a negative way, because you've hit rock bottom. But I think we shouldn't ignore the fact that yes, you can find energy and motivation from a dark place, but keeping that for the rest of your life is so dangerous and just makes you bitter at the world and so regretful when you're on your deathbed. And it just makes you not a great person, man. Like putting out a bunch of negative energy out there, even if you think you're keeping to yourself. It's like maybe using that to drive yourself to a place of neutrality, and then finding the light in life, you know, seeing the brighter side of things and living a happier life and positive influences. Maybe you're really skinny or really overweight, and you're just like, you hit a rock bottom and you're like, fuck it, bro, I'm gonna get swole, right? I'm gonna get jacked. And then you start seeing some progress, and then that motivates you. The progress motivates you, and then you no longer have to take it from a place of evil or being upset or anything. And now you can build off of that, the momentum of a positive momentum instead. So definitely, yeah, the Gymcel thing is definitely not optimal. Definitely not for me.
Yeah, because I've seen some, like a lot of accounts actually nowadays. It's like, I mean, I understand maybe one or two clips, couple clips here and there, like you put like one of the sad songs behind it. But I've seen some accounts with their whole persona is just like that sad depression gym
Yeah.
vibe. Like every video you see, the guy in the hoodie, just sad. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm like, bro, what the heck is going on? It's supposed to be
Yeah.
like a place to push yourself to become better. You may be in a negative place right now, but you can definitely go uplift yourself, go to a higher vibration, stuff like that. You don't have to be depressed. It's not like optimal, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
But I guess whatever gets views, you know, I guess they like that.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that side of things, because usually the biggest controversy that gets talked about in like fitness culture and stuff is natural versus enhanced, right? But it's like, it is interesting to look at people getting their views skewed on fitness through seeing it from that Gymcel side of things, right? It really skews their ideas. It's really upsetting.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, one of the bigger problems is the natural versus the enhanced. Because I think a lot of people don't even notice what's the difference, and also there are a lot of enhanced people that they don't look that enhanced, but they're still on juice,
Yeah.
and people just generally don't see the difference. And you would be surprised to know like a lot of guys are on like gear, and they don't really look like they're on gear, you know?
Yeah. It was surprising to come to learn that a lot of people that have gone to like my commercial gyms in the past are taking steroids, because I never would have thought, especially when I was 16 all the way up to probably 19. I was so gullible in all of it, because I didn't know. I was so ignorant to the space beforehand. So I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was like 16 all the way up to like 19 probably. I thought like some of the biggest celebrities and bodybuilders, like professional bodybuilders, I thought they were all natural, man. I thought they were all telling the truth. All these actors and stuff, all these influencers, I was like, yeah, man, like they say they're natural, so you know, they don't look all crazy, then I thought it was all attainable naturally. But it is surprising once you learn how many people at your gym probably are on roids, even if they don't look like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we definitely know. I mean, we definitely know that like The Rock, Michael O'Hearn, they're definitely natural. Like they're definitely a natural. So
no, absolutely. Man.
I believe them for sure, though, but the rest, I don't really trust them.
Yeah, man. I thought it was like people like The Rock or Arnold and stuff that I was 16 to 19 thought nothing was wrong, or whatever, thought it was attainable. It's like, oh, it's just genetics, man. They just hit the genetic lottery, which is probably true as well. But I was just too ignorant to know that. And and I think that's really has a lot of people lost as well, especially people that are new to the space and new to fitness as well. I don't see there being any sort of objective problem if between a person training naturally or enhanced, right? Especially if it's a person that's just made that decision for themselves. They're not even posting anything. I mean, even if they are posting anything, like hopefully they're being honest about it, right? But it's like they can make that decision for themselves, and the only unethical or immoral thing for that person that never gets talked about is the fact that they might be robbing themselves or people in relationships in their future self's life of happiness, because then they build these relationships with other people, and those people might depend on them, either financially as a family or emotionally just as friends and family, and then this person might incur some form of injury or health problem in the future, or God forbid, passing at a young age. And then that can really affect, obviously, those people around them. And I think that is something that doesn't get talked about either. It's really upsetting to think that these people, so many influencers online, live by this live fast, die young mantra, and they scream it to the mountaintops. But it's so polarizing and so charismatic that people just buy into it so quickly, and then they'll do it themselves. But it's such an odd case. It's such an odd case where social media is at right now.
Yeah, because I've seen like even there are like bunch of lifters, like bodybuilders, like they're on gear, like even like Trent Twins, Sam Sulek, like they're fun guys. I like their content and stuff, But I feel like indirectly they kind of have like this influence. I'm not saying they're responsible, but it's kind of an indirect effect that like it's like people see what's cool, what's like doing well, what's interesting to other people, and then they kind of naturally get attracted to that type of content, and then maybe they get influenced by their decisions. And then, bro, TikTok, there is like so many 15, 16, 17-year-olds on like bunch of like steroids, like on peptides. Like I'm like, bro, what is going on nowadays?
Yeah, I think with the influencers that are open about their performance enhancing drug usage, or their usage of any preternatural like advantage, right? I think it's sort of like a double-edged sword where they're being honest about it, and I think it kills a lot of body dysmorphia as well, and it makes people a lot more aware to the physiques that are actually not natural, right? But then at the same time, like you said, it can influence kids or just young people that are getting into the space indirectly, and whether that's immoral or not, or unethical or not, I don't know, because I think that especially if it's like a kid or something, it's like you can't blame the influencer directly for that sort of thing, man. It's like what kind of environment are they in? Who's their parental guardian, like their legal guardian or whatever, or like what kind of system are they in where that's available to them? So that's definitely an odd philosophy to debate.
Yeah, it's super hard to deal with that, because if there are no parents and guardians around, like the kids can kind of do whatever, and it's like, especially at that age, honestly, the risk is not worth it. And I've seen a lot of young kids do it, even like in the gyms that I've been. But I hope they rethink their decisions, because even though it may be jokes, they're like, I'm gonna hop on gear and stuff, but like I think it's good to like kind of think about the whole process, what's gonna happen, because a lot of people don't even know, but you can actually make gains by just hopping on gear without even training, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think we've somehow arrived to a point on the timeline where now people are so much quicker to judge and discredit natural lifters rather than the enhanced lifters, right? You'll see so many comments and claims under posts of people saying like, you know, maybe this influencer that's obviously not natural, but they're claiming natural, posts a picture, and then someone will comment and be like, bro's putting natural in his bio, but look at him, right? And then people will reply and be like, even if he is on gear, or even if he's taking steroids, like, you know, they still put in just as much work, maybe if not more than a natural lifter would. And I'm like, how have we gotten to this point where, like, we've all seen the case studies and all read the research on, you know, the lifter or the people that take these performance enhancing drugs or a single drug and don't lift. They're just sitting around, right? Just living their day-to-day life. But then you have the other people in that same study lifting, training, eating and sleeping optimally, all while doing it natural. And they don't even begin to near the progress on muscle garnered and fat lost as the person that's just sitting around taking that drug. It's nuts. We've gotten to a scary point on the timeline, man. It's really nuts.
Definitely, man. Every time you say like somebody's like not natural, they're like, oh, but he still works hard though. Like, bro, come on. Yeah, like obviously.
Yeah, it's just cope, because I guess it's just like you're challenging their belief, right? It's like maybe they've bonded so much with this influencer in a parasocial way, which is even scarier, that now they're defending that person, or maybe because of that person and they think that they can attain that, but maybe deep down they know that they're on some form of drug, or maybe they've contemplated a performance enhancing drug themselves. It's like you're almost challenging their identity and their beliefs, so they're so quick to defend it. It's crazy.
For sure. Yeah, because recently I did a video of it, like a friend of mine, like he's like 18 and he does calisthenics. He's not like crazy huge, but like he's young and he does, like, for a calisthenics guy, he's pretty jacked and he's super lean. And if he made a video and like he was saying some stuff like good, like advice about diet and stuff, like healthy eating, and people are like, oh, like someone needs to give him diet advice, so like a diet plan. And then like, my bro, this kid is like, he does like crazy muscle ups and like planches. I think it's like some crazy calisthenics movements. And I'm like, you don't even know who this kid is before like you just judge him, you know? Like that's why I feel like a lot of these juiced up creators, especially the fake natties, they have like a really bad influence on the gym culture, you know?
No, 100%. Because there's so many different forms of physiques and so many different forms of exercise. And it's like, if someone's doing calisthenics because they don't want to weightlift, it's probably because it makes them happy, or because they might be injured in some way, right? And so many of these comments, so many people are so quick to judge based off of what they know, when they have no context of the other person's life. You know, there was like no comments on my videos of people wondering what kind of injuries I've sustained or any conditions that I might have. You know, it's like people will say stuff about my chest because my chest is shit right now. Like genetic wise, it's like I've got pectus excavatum, so like my sternum's pushed in, and then my pec insertions are a bit more spread out. And at the same time, I have that nerve damage. So like the left side, like my left scapula is just shot, right? And my joints are wrecked in my arms. And so when I try to do any optimal lift for my chest, it's like for the past several years, I'm just unable to do it, right? But it's like you don't see anybody in my comments being like, wait a second, I wonder if this guy's like injured or anything, or no DMs asking me like what kind of injuries I might have. Actually, I think I had one DM that was like, wait, do you actually not train chest ever, or like what's going on, man? And it's just like, you're so rare to see curiosity or any humility from people, you know? I mean, I get the Instagram comments are funny and everything, you know, but it's still like dystopian to see all these people so quick to judge.
For sure. Yeah, I would say honestly, with the comments, like social media in general, like a lot of people just take things as they see. Like they don't really necessarily second doubt themselves. They don't even ask like, what if like this is like maybe like comedic? Maybe there's like something going on. Maybe like it's a Trojan horse. Even with like the government media, social media, like there's a lot of ways that people use social media to kind of like confuse people. And a lot of people just take it as it is. Like they don't necessarily think like, wait, what if these people are lying? You know, like you wouldn't believe, bro, but like in soccer, like news and soccer journalism, like a lot of like these teams and like they use journalists to kind of promote certain narratives, and people just think like, oh, it's just the truth. But like a lot of these guys are kind of promoting narratives kind of like to boost up a value of a certain player, kind of get power in negotiation
100%.
positions, you know? And like a lot of people like, yeah, bro, like this is that, like this player should go there. Like a lot of times they don't even think like, oh, like what if this is like a negotiation method that they're using this journalist to like it applies to everywhere, even with fitness content. People don't like think really, you know.
It's really deceptive. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's so easy to like clickbait. Like if your videos, it was obviously like it's like for a comedic reason, and it's just people.
It is scary how many people bought into it, not realizing it was satire either. Though, like that's another small percentage of the comments. Well, not even that small, but there's so many comments where someone would comment something satirical as well or ironic, you know, playing along with the joke that I posted, and then someone will reply and be like, bro, no, like obviously his physique is attainable naturally, like he doesn't train hard enough for blah blah blah, and they're taking it serious. And then the original commenter will be like, no, bro, you're just jealous of his hard work, like I'll never be able to look like that guy or whatever. And they'll go back and forth, and this guy will never realize that the original commenter is joking. And then I've seen one where they were going back and forth 7-8 comments, and then the guy says, I just realized you're joking, like discredit everything I said before this. And then they deleted all the comments, and I was like, that guy was not joking. Like they believed that, like everything that I said in my video, which is so ridiculous, where people will say rage bait or anything like that. And I'm like, I get what they mean, but it's like, I'm not baiting anything, because it's like, it's so obviously satire and so obviously ironic that it's like, bro, you can't mistake this for like someone baiting you into something, right? It's like, of course I play into the comments, and like I'm expecting the comments to come through and stuff on these videos, but it's like there's no rage bait or unethical gain that I get out of this, you know. It's just purely entertainment content.
No, absolutely, yeah, because it's so easy to get comments like if with the right way. It's like definitely it just takes like one person in the background to do some stupid thing to get like mad hella comments, you know. What is bro doing in the background, you know, like some stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Like with creators in general, even with me, I'm like, don't believe everything I say. I would say with one thing that I would say I learned is that like just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean everything they say is wrong, and just because you agree with somebody doesn't mean they everything they say is right. So I would just say take the positives, the negatives, and just like apply to your life and move on. That's about it.
Yeah, chew on the meat, spit out the bones, sort of thing. Yeah, there's always, even if they're saying things you don't like or saying it in a manner that you don't appreciate or it's toxic or whatever, it's like there's always probably some form of light and truth in what they're saying. And even if not, it's like at least you can see what they're saying and be like, yeah, that's not going to be me. Like, fuck that, not me, bro. Like they're saying that's the opposite of who I want to be, you know?
Yeah, because like the biggest example, like Alex Hormozi, right? Like he gives like crazy business advice, but like his diet is kind of like not the best, you know, like ice cream and fast food from 7-Eleven or something. Like doesn't mean like his business advice is bad or he's just like a messed up person or something. It's just something that works for him, you know?
No, absolutely. It's different for everybody.
Exactly. Another thing I was going to ask is that with your training, like how are you planning to kind of move forward, especially with your injuries and like the limitations?
So right now I'm just trying to do as much muscular and tendon rehab I can for my knees. I'm seeing like a chiro and doctors and stuff for my nerve injury or like my nerve damage and stuff as well, seeing what we can do about that. Kind of just rehabbing those things. But on terms of like the stuff that I can do, been trying to see what chest and scapular movements that I'm able to deal with, and just trying to do everything else optimally. The diet and nutrition is definitely the biggest thing right now. Just trying not to eat like a degenerate and let myself go anymore, and just stay consistent with it all, you know, kind of just doing push-pull legs, except my leg day is a little skewed because it's mostly rehab stuff. My quads are now like the smallest muscle in my body because I can't bend my knees without ruining them and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going. It's a blessing to be in the position that I'm in now. You know, of course I miss all the heavy compounds and all the leg oriented stuff and miss running and everything. But I'm learning how to deal with that and cope and just find happiness in other ways.
I think that would be like a good way kind of to like make content about it. Honestly, I think a lot of people would benefit from it because there is a lot of people dealing with injuries. Injuries are like way more common than you think. So I think whenever you get like the time and stuff, maybe you can, you know, make some content, help people out. Because I feel like if I was like had the same issues, I would be probably disappointed. Like I would be like not really motivated like to have like somebody sharing content like that and giving me advice, that would be like a priceless.
No, you're right. I'll definitely look into that. Yeah, I never thought that I was going to be in the position of being injured. So then going on to YouTube or like having people comment to me being like, check out knees over toes guy and stuff like that, and seeing all these different people that are talking about injury rehab. I'm like, dang, I never thought I'd be in this position, but it's so helpful. And I'm like thankful that people actually took the time to make content like that. So I'll definitely look into that a bit more and see if I could offer a more firsthand experience on those things. You're right.
For sure. Are you still posting on YouTube or no?
Yeah, I mean, it just halted when I started getting ready for the move and everything. Just waiting on a couple more like household essentials. I'm pretty much settled all the way in. So got a new tripod and everything because my last one broke. But yeah, looking to continue the fragrance and style oriented stuff for men on YouTube because I just love that sort of stuff, man, and some self-improvement as well. But also I'm probably going to keep doing the satirical and ironic content on Instagram for the time being while my physique's not in the place where I want it to be, and then until hopefully it is, and then hopefully I can still figure out some content for that as well.
For sure. I mean, you definitely got the drip because when I saw you at Vegas, you definitely had like some good ass fashion taste. You know?
I appreciate you, brother. That was awesome, man.
Do you what do you think that like fashion wise? What are some things that a lot of guys lack nowadays, in your opinion?
I think it's definitely become a more definitely gotten some more exposure, especially through like short form content. I think that's a plus side of so much content as well. Man, I don't know. I think maybe looking towards styles that aren't you. You know, you'll see so many different styles out there. You know, there's like there's guys that will look at videos of people that dress really like grunge and punk, and then they'll also be following the people that dress very like old money aesthetic sort of stuff, right? Or luxury aesthetic. I think it's most important that you just find the style that works for you and that you feel you're most yourself with, you know? It's like for me personally, I know objectively from a macro fundamental level, the amount of jewelry I wear is like way too much, bro. But that's just me. Like I live for that shit, bro. Like I don't know if it's probably from some sort of insecurity as well, but it's like, bro, I don't care because that's just me and I love it, man. And
no, bro, it's your fashion, it's your taste, man. Just go
exactly,
with it,
man. So I think just no matter what, hopefully, you know, there's some macro level thinking in all of it. Like you shouldn't be wearing all these colors that are clashing back and forth. But I think if there's something on the micro end that like is just you, and for me it was like jewelry and accessorizing and shit, it's like fuck it, bro, just be you, man. Whatever puts a smile on your face. But I think objectively it can help in a social setting if you're focused on the macro level stuff as well.
Yeah, because I feel like nowadays authenticity is kind of missing. A lot of people just copying each other.
No,
I think you may be like going through like a trial phase, kind of testing different fashion, but I think you're definitely right. Like a lot of guys kind of need to get out of their comfort zone and actually just see what they like rather than what the social media system, you know?
Absolutely. Just trying stuff, man. Seeing what they like, trying that stuff on. Because even if you are in the position where you're showing up to, you know, the function or showing up to school or work or whatever, and you're wearing something so drastically different every day, it's like, bro, if you do that for like a week straight and you're like, wait, on Wednesday, that outfit that I wore, like, that was awesome, bro. Like I felt so good in that. It's like, then you can style based off of that genre of clothing or style or whatever, and then just keep going with that. It's like, it's always worth testing out the waters in the first place and trying out so many different things to begin with, and then settling and expanding and going hard with whatever it is that you actually like for yourself.
Absolutely. So to top it off, what about the fragrances? What do you think? What are some like, give me like 3 fragrances like in different price ranges that you think guys should get?
Oh man.
I know that's your bread and butter.
No, absolutely, man. I love the fragrance game so much. Price ranges are hard, man. I think there's always good dupes of certain things that pull it off, even sometimes better with longevity and stuff as well. I would say like the DNA of Silver Mountain Water from Creed is really awesome. I think that's a winner, especially for the feminine nose. I don't think I've ever met a woman that disliked that fragrance.
What's the name?
Seriously.
What's the name? I'm taking
notes. It's called Silver Mountain Water from Creed.
Silver Mountain Water.
I used to work for Creed for a little bit, so that gives me a bit of credence to that as well when I talk to
Nice.
people about that, and on my YouTube as well. I'm always mentioning that. That one's a bit pricey as well. So, you know, there's some dupes out there that are pretty good for that. I've talked about that as well. Usually you'll hear the name Ventus from Creed thrown around in the fragrance space all the time. That one's really, really overplayed. I mean, I've heard that it smelled amazing in like 2015 or whatever, 2016. But, you know, I wasn't too much into the fragrance stuff back then. But apparently it's been reformulated, but people will still say, you know, oh, it's like the lady killer fragrance and stuff. But it's honestly mostly just men that love that one. So that's a niche secret as well, is that Aventus is kind of overhyped. And there's some good dupes of it as well that'll last you a bit longer. So
What do you think about Gucci and like those type of stuff?
The designer fragrances, I think they've got some good stuff, especially from like their private blends and stuff. They do have good designer like up front. Like Versace has some good stuff, like Versace Dylan Blue, and I think Dylan Blue you can find for like even like 40 or 50 bucks now, like a full 100 milliliter bottle of that, and that's a crowd pleaser. Like everybody loves that sort of thing. Or like Gucci Guilty. There's some good sweeter Gucci Guilties as well, and those aren't over $100 either, I don't think. But then a lot of them can be pretty saturated, but then that's where you can look into more private blend sort of stuff. You know, like YSL has Tuxedo. It's this bottle right there. And that one is like from their more private blend luxury sort of thing. So each brand's got like their more pricey stuff, but then also, I mean, there's also just those crowd pleasing, nose lover fragrances that are really cheap as well. So you can never go wrong with a cheapie, man. You really can't.
I'm a YSL guy, so is that like a good brand? It's what I like. I don't know.
Yeah. YSL Tuxedo. It's like a more patchouli based fragrance. That one also seems to be, it's loved by I'd say the majority, but leans a bit more towards the feminine nose, like liked by the feminine nose sort of thing, more dressed up sort of thing. Definitely for the cooler weather. I don't think I would wear it anywhere above 70 degrees, honestly, but definitely a good cold weather, more dressed up occasion sort of thing.
So wait, you said like with different weathers, like you prefer like to wear different type of fragrances,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. If there's, you know, if it's warmer or anything, or I think under any circumstance, a fresher fragrance with like more citruses and stuff like that, I think that's always going to work. But especially in the summertime and stuff, you know, something that's clean, fresh, ozonic, that sort of thing. If it's warm, you would never really want to wear something that's like sweet or vanilla or anything like that, right? It would just be very cloying, especially like I think like if you go to the gym, sometimes I'll go to the gym and I'll smell some guy that's like wearing something that's like a date night fragrance. And I'm like, fuck, bro. Like people are getting sweaty in there. You know, you don't really want to be smelling like this ambery, like vanillin fragrance next to you, you know, when people are so close to each other and like getting sweaty and everything. And it's hot, really hot and everything. But if you're wearing something that, you know, is a lot more fresh, a lot more citrusy, just a lot more ozonic, then it's like a lot more easygoing and like pleasing to the nose, you know. But it's like if you're going to go on a date, I think you could pull off a fresh fragrance. I think those are just universal. But definitely that's when you would aim to have more of that sweeter sort of fragrance.
Yeah, because I got some good reviews from ladies with the YSL. But
yeah. Do you know which one it was?
Let me see. Let me actually bring it for you.
Yeah. Gotcha. The black bottle.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, that's a banger, man. I was working for Creed when that one came out.
Really?
And I sold that a couple times because I was working specifically for Creed, but also just beauty and fragrance in general. So yeah, that one's a banger.
Bro, I've been using this for the past, like, I want to say 2-3 years. But you're saying like this is not really good for like warm weathers, right?
It must be a different one then that I'm thinking of, because I could have sworn the one that I was thinking of just came out like less than a year ago. Yeah, I think myself, if it's what I'm thinking of, the if it's like a bit more sweet, or like it seems a bit more like nighttime, cooler weather, I think you could probably pull it off in like the 70s or whatever too, like 70-degree weather. But I mean, if it was like a 90-degree day or something, and I'm going to the gym, it's like I probably stuff like that you would hold off on. But I think that's like a perfect like going out sort of fragrance, you know, going out with the boys or like date night sort of thing. Perfect, man.
Got it. So I gotta invest like in a gym fragrance for sure.
Yeah, man. I've got a video for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that for sure. I'm gonna check that for sure.
Appreciate
So
you, brother.
to wrap things up, like what's a quote that you live by that
Quote that
truly
I live by.
resonates with you, you know?
Genuinely, I don't know if there's a quote that I think of like in my day to day. I think there's several, you know, that I'll hear here and there or think of here and there. But in my day to day, I definitely value humility and having like a growth mindset, like that student mindset. I think that's a huge quality to have, and just practicing humility and always looking for ways to improve. I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people lack and a lot of people aren't told growing up. Just having that curiosity and wanting to learn and seeing what mistakes they make and how to learn from them, not blaming others and just taking accountability for their own actions and not looking at these external factors. I think that's such a huge and overlooked thing. And other than that, just trusting in the Lord with everything that I do, man. 100%.
Absolutely, man. Like whenever you take responsibility for your actions and you learn from your mistakes, that's really honorable, you know, that's admirable for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it propels you into your future, man. Builds so much character.
100%, man. 100%. Mr. Jackson, it's a pleasure to have you on my channel. Thanks for coming on. You dropped like
Seriously,
great information and for like, you know, for us and the viewers, you know.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, man. It's been a blessing to be on here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Arin.
Of course. So what's next with your content, like your you know, YouTube channel, Instagram, stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna resume the more style-oriented and fragrance-oriented stuff on the YouTube, and then on terms of Instagram and short-form content, just looking to continue the satire and ironic stuff. Whatever just puts a smile on my face, even if it flops. Gonna continue doing that while I'm on the journey to losing weight as well, and trying to drop my body fat percentage and put on a bit more muscle. And then at that point, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do, because then I can't make the satire shit anymore.
You're gonna make like jacked guy content after that, you know?
Hopefully, man. Hopefully.
Yeah.
And then that's when I turned into the Gymcel Sigma male.
back to the depression reels, you know?
Exactly, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck, man. But listen, bro, like I'm excited for your content, for your journey. Anytime down for future collabs, let me know.
Absolutely,
it
man.
was a pleasure
100%.
again.
Seriously, Arin. Thank you so much, man. God bless you.
Thanks for coming on, bro.